Chapter 1. Muhammad bin Massi. The Ottoman Caliphate was in turmoil. The Mutazilites had come and gone, but their influence had affected many Muslims, giving rise to deviant theologies across the Muslim lands. However, there was one place where the Islam of the Prophet, peace be upon him, remained inviolate: his adopted hometown of Medina. The city had seen many changes over time. The massive influx of wealth from the Muslim conquests of Persia, the Levant, and the Maghrib had transformed the city, with palatial homes and ornate adornments rising throughout. Yet the area around the Prophet's, peace be upon him, mosque had remained mostly untouched. The masjid was still surrounded by small shops offering goods from across Arabia and beyond: Persian and Azerbaijani carpets, Yemeni incense and perfumes, and leather goods crafted locally. This was also a refuge for the less fortunate. The masjid served as sanctuary, especially in times of extreme weather, providing a place to rest and refresh with the waters of Zamzam. On the outskirts of Medina lived a humble man, Muhammad bin Massi. The Arabs placed great importance on lineage, and Muhammad could trace his ancestry all the way back to Hadrat Abu Bakr, the first caliph of Islam. Born in a small town near Damascus, Syria, Muhammad had migrated with his pious father to Medina at a young age. His father's devotion to the deen had driven their journey closer to where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, had lived and walked. From his youth, Muhammad aspired to model himself after his ancestor Abu Bakr. He mastered the knowledge of the Quran and Sunnah early in life, and studied fiqh under some of Medina's most notable scholars. He lived simply. He was married, with 3 sons and a daughter, and inherited a small carpet shop near Masjid al-Nabawi from his father, which provided modest sustenance for the family. Though he spent part of his day managing the store, Muhammad devoted more time to the masjid, sitting among the gatherings of scholars. Despite his deep understanding and revered status, he rarely interjected during discussions. When asked why he remained silent while others eagerly debated, he replied, "Islam is a simple religion. Believe in Allah and do good deeds. Too much discussion detracts from the message rather than helps people understand the religion." But after the Asr prayer, Muhammad could always be found near the Rawdah, the resting place of the Prophet, peace be upon him, Abu Bakr and Umar. Children and workers from the masjid and surrounding shops would gather around him, eager to listen. Speaking in a soft voice with a calm smile, Muhammad would tell stories of the prophets of Allah, of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and of the Sahaba. When asked why he told stories instead of preaching directly, he responded, "I am a storyteller, not a preacher. The lives of these esteemed personalities are the life of Islam. Just as I was inspired by the example of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and my ancestor Abu Bakr, perhaps these children will find a hero in these stories who will guide them too." One of Muhammad's favorite stories was that of Hijrah. He would explain how nearly all the prophets had left their homes, moving from comfort to rejection, from ease to hardship, to deliver the message of Allah. He would speak of Adam, peace be upon him, leaving the Garden of Eden for earth, of Ibrahim, peace be upon him, journeying from Ur to Haran, of Musa, peace be upon him, traveling from Egypt to Canaan, of Yusuf, peace be upon him, finding his destiny in Egypt, of Isa, peace be upon him, moving from Galilee to Jerusalem, and of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, making his migration from Mecca to Medina. He would highlight the challenges they faced, how these trials strengthened and shaped them, and how, with Allah's help, they eventually triumphed. This, he believed, was the universal story of the hero. He saw it as essential for youth to internalize this lesson, to live with purpose, remain undeterred by setbacks, and rely on Allah to achieve great things. Do not be discouraged by expectations and results, he would say. Always remember, you are a messenger through your words and actions. The results belong to Allah. Years passed, and Muhammad's children grew. Each one became a learned and righteous Muslim. They married noble spouses and started families of their own. One day, his eldest son came to him and asked for permission to emigrate, to perform hijrah, to the Maghrib to spread Islam, just as he had been taught. Muhammad was overjoyed, hopeful that his son would follow in the footsteps of the great prophets. Some years later, his second son also asked to perform hijrah, this time to Persia in the east. His daughter had married a pious young man, his shop assistant, who now took charge of the family business. With his shop in good hands, Muhammad devoted himself entirely to worship and storytelling at the masjid. Only his youngest son, Abdullah Muhammad, remained by his side. Abdullah wished to make hijrah as well, but hesitated. He didn't want to leave his aging father alone. Muhammad, recognizing his son's inner struggle, called him one evening. "My son," he asked gently, "what is it that your heart desires?" Abdullah respectfully shared his dream to follow the route of Prophet Hud, peace be upon him. After being rejected by the people of Ad, Hud had made hijrah to Hadramaut in Yemen, where he successfully spread the message of Allah. Travelers had since reported that many in that region had reverted to Christianity or idol worship. Abdullah hoped to rekindle Islam's light there, using the lessons taught by his father. Muhammad smiled and reminded him of the story of Abu Bakr. "Do you recall when the Prophet, peace be upon him, called upon the believers to fund the expedition to Tabuk, facing the mighty Byzantine army?" Omar, wishing to outdo Abu Bakr, brought half his wealth. When the Prophet, peace be upon him, asked what he had left for his family, Omar replied, "Half." Abu Bakr then came with a larger amount. The Prophet asked, "What have you left for your family?" Abu Bakr replied, "I have left Allah and His Messenger." "So you see, my son," Muhammad continued, "it is Allah who provides and protects. You will be rewarded for your care and concern for me, but I am content in Allah's care. Your sister and her family will ensure I am looked after." Abdullah, relieved and grateful, now had the chance to follow in the path of the righteous, just as Abu Bakr had once accompanied the Prophet, peace be upon him, on the original hijrah from Mecca to Medina. Before he departed, Muhammad reminded him of the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him. When a person dies, only three things continue to benefit him: knowledge that benefits others, righteous children who pray for him, and charity given during his life. "My son," he said, "I have tried to teach the Quran and Sunnah, and I am honored by the righteousness of my children. Now, in these last years, I wish to fulfill the third part, to give in charity, even in small ways, to benefit the people of Medina. Your dua will bring me greater comfort than any physical assistance." "Allah," he concluded, and the rest of the family are enough for me.